6 minutes starts now.
They're taking action in Florida. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This could have been your kid.
More vigils for the 17 students and adults murdered at a school.
Children are dying. When does it stop? It stops right now.
And today, busloads of students from that high school in Parkland, Florida, shot up last week, will go to the state capitol in Tallahassee to demand stricter gun laws.
And there are signs that students and parents are being heard in Florida. State lawmakers reportedly considering raising the age for buying an assault rifle to 21, imposing a 3-day waiting period and closing background screening loopholes.
Fox's Kelly Wright. We could find out today if the Supreme Court will take up DACA, which is still in limbo. The program was supposed to end March 5th under a presidential order.
After a district judge based in San Francisco blocked the Trump administration from ending deportation protections for immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally as children, the Justice Department appealed straight to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Mitt Romney tried to go to the White House, but failed on that run. Now he's trying to go to the U.S. Senate, and he's getting backing from someone who he was very critical of back in 2016. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
Giving a boost to his campaign for an open Senate seat in Utah, President Trump has endorsed former Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney, tweeting he will make a great senator and worthy successor to Orrin Hatch, and has my full support and endorsement. Romney tweeted in response, "Thank you, Mr. President, for the support. I hope that over the course of the campaign, I also earn the support and endorsement of the people of Utah." The president in the past has called Romney a choke artist. Romney has called the president a phony who is unfit for office. Dave?
John, at the Olympics, the U.S. men's hockey team beat Slovakia 5-1 to advance to the quarterfinal matchup tonight against the Czech Republic. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high-commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Survivors of a Florida high school shooting that left 17 dead are channeling their anger and sadness into action. More than 100 students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School heading to Florida's capital today to push lawmakers to do something about gun violence. That latest shooting has prompted protests in New Jersey and nationwide. 17-year-old senior Brett Johnson says he's helping organize a walkout at Shawnee Regional High in Medford March 14th, the one-month anniversary of the Florida tragedy.
Enough is enough. We are tired of our lives being the ones that are sacrificed because Congress refuses to do something about this epidemic that we have going on.
Organizers in New Jersey also joining with others for a national demonstration March 24th, urging Congress to act. As Rutgers gets ready to hold its 12th annual Government and Public Service Career Fair for students to explore jobs in the public sector, a group of students want Immigration and Customs Agency recruiters banned from the event, saying they represent DACA students. A group says inviting immigration agents creates an unsafe environment for some. I'm Eric Scott. This is the Town Square News Network.
Hey, it's meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Did you have your house for sale last year and it just didn't sell? Call Robert Dukansky of RE/MAX First Advantage. Nothing can be more stressful than needing to sell your home than just watch it sit for 6 months or more. Henry and Ann went through this with their home in Pine Beach. It sat on the market with another agency for 6 months and nothing. They called Rob because they knew they would have at least one offer on the table. Rob's team listed the home, and after a dozen and showings, and less than 45 days on the market, the home was successfully sold. Rob guarantees to sell your home at a price and a deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it. And there's no risk to you because he'll let you out of the contract anytime. Last year, Rob sold over 750 homes, yet when you list with him, you feel like you're his only client. So call Rob Dukansky today at 855-350-1015. That's 855-350-1015 or online at robsellsnj.com. That's robsellsnj.com, and start packing.
Morning clouds still hanging around. When those go away, sunshine for the rest of the day and the first of 2 days of potential record highs in New Jersey. Upper 60s to lower 70s today. That's a tick warmer than what we told you yesterday. Still mild overnight for this time of year at least. Partly cloudy skies and lows in the 50s up to 60. A few extra clouds and some fog at the Jersey Shore. Early fog gives way to partly cloudy skies on Wednesday. The warmth continues, lower to mid-70s. Then rain returns on Thursday, highs only in the 40s and low 50s. I'm Patrick Lavery.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame.
I want to congratulate my friend, Harry Hurley.
You're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
It is 6 minutes past the hour. Thank you for waking up early in the morning. Thanks for a great first half, and the momentum continues right here, right now. Chuck Malamut is back after a week away. He was on business. Kirk and I managed the hour. We did opposite of what Chuck and I usually do. We talked about individual stocks. We talked about politics. During Chuck's program, we do neither of those two. We do many other things. Chuck is now in his 27th year here as our official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. Chuck is the managing director and leads his team, the Malamut Group, at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office. 609-383-2010 is the phone number to reach the Malamut Group, 609-383-2010. The following program is presented by Chuck Malamut, a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. The information, views, and opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of Chuck. They do not necessarily reflect those of Morgan Stanley or its affiliates. They are current as of the date of this broadcast, subject to change without notice. Neither the information provided nor any opinion expressed herein constitutes a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. This presentation is for informational purposes only. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, member SIPC. And on a weekly basis, I typically remember to tell everyone that Chuck has been selected multiple years by the very prestigious Dow Jones Business and Financial Weekly publication, the annual Barron's List, Power List of America's top 1,200 financial advisors. Chuck, obviously, to be in the top 1,200, you have to make the coveted list in your own state, which Chuck has done on multiple occasions. And ladies and gentlemen, I come bearing breaking news this morning. My brother Chuck has been selected by Forbes magazine. I believe this is a first. Chuck has been selected as a member of Forbes' Best Wealth Advisors in America. They select 2,000 over the entire country. Chuck is number 25 in the state of New Jersey, whereby they only ranked 93. And obviously those 93, Chuck at number 25, part of the 2,000 overall. And Chuck, I'm very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Harry.
How did that feel to get that? Not for me to say it, but how did that feel to get the Forbes, honor?
It felt great, Harry. Actually, I felt better listening to you than actually receiving all the accolades from Forbes.
You take me along with you everywhere you go. I'll introduce you like that. But Chuck, that's pretty serious business. I mean, the Dow publication, Barron's, and now Forbes. I mean, in your world, that's, to me, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, Harry, I don't even remember the count of how many financial advisors there are, that practice in the country. I mean, if you take a look at Morgan Stanley, there's 16,000 advisors. Merrill Lynch is not far behind. Call it maybe 14,000, and UBS with about 7,000. And then you have a lot of the smaller regionals, including financial advisory firms within banks, and then you have your traditional, RIAs as they're referred to. So I'm I've lost track of how many hundreds of thousands there are out there.
More than 300,000.
You're right. I think the last time we looked, it was plus 300. Yeah, I mean, it is an honor. I mean, it's not myself. It's the team. It's Nancy. It's Mike. It's Kristen. I mean, it's everyone that it's everyone that makes it happen within the organization. And I think it, kind of. We'll talk about this for a second. I mean, the fact that our clients over the last 2.5 weeks remained very calm throughout the process, and I think that's a matter of us being diligent and, making certain the client's goals are on track. So when you have situations like we had, and I don't want to call it a one-off, it was, there's a number, and we'll talk about what we think happened in a few minutes and where we think we're going. But the fact of the matter is, this is a long journey. This is we always say, Harry, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And as a result of that, if you take into account what happens on a day-to-day basis, an hourly basis, technology is a wonderful tool, but I think in the hands of some people, it can be a dangerous thing. I mean,
I also believe, Chuck, your more than 30 years of experience is also a calming influence with your clients that have grown to trust you, to trust your judgment, and to not get hysterical, during any one particular, upsetting moment, whatever it might be.
And I'll tell you, it was, downturns in the market never come easy for all of us. It doesn't much matter, how long you've been in the business and how much you have invested. The fact of the matter is, and what happened and the way it happened and what the media does with it, it just exasperates the situation, makes it, ultimately worse than it really is, as it turns out.
I think the media, and I think another thing that you and I talked about before you left for your hiatus for the weekend, and you were doing business. You just usually when Chuck is away, we can do the program. It just was impossible during your program. You were literally, I believe, in the air. But the thing that we talked about too, the computer technology of today made a lot of that stuff happen faster than a human could do it.
In the one day, and I don't remember what exact day it was, middle of the week, perhaps 2 weeks ago, when you watch the Dow, and I don't like to refer to Dow, but everybody looks at the Dow, and again, being the 30
because your
stocks.
TV screen puts it up there, 60 inches.
It puts, you look at, we really should be tracking the S&P 500, but we've talked about that for a long time, but let's talk about the Dow. When the Dow moves down by 100 points every 5 minutes over the course of 45 minutes or so, then you realize at the time that something is wrong, and the computers and the computer trading is now kicked in, and as a result of that, the Dow was down, I think 1,600 points at the low, of which most of it was recovered during the day, or half of it was recovered towards the end of the day. But the way it happened, it clearly indicated that it was more technical and not fundamental. I mean, I think, Kirk, you and Harry talked about a little bit the last hour. The economy, except for, unfortunately, maybe where we live, and it's getting better here as well, the economy throughout the country is doing very, very well. I had an opportunity. I traveled to Wisconsin last week for a 401k plan that we're onboarding, and this company is struggling hiring people. I mean, the unemployment rate is truly 4% where I was, and the fact is that this plant or this company is running 3 shifts, 24, 3 8 hours a shift, 24/7. And they have such backlogs right now, they have to outsource a lot of their business. And when they're outsourcing the business, it cuts into your margins. I mean, your top line looks good, but ultimately it cuts into your bottom line. And so I think you're starting to see that throughout parts of the country. And now all of us will be receiving in February. Our paychecks will be higher. But one of the things that I don't know if Kirk and Harry, you guys talked about, you talked about salt, and I won't get into discussion about salt, but what I think I mentioned one time not too long ago is that those taxpayers that cannot deduct like they did last year in 2016 and 2017, the fact of the matter is next April they're going to be writing some checks because they're getting a reduction at the federal level right now in their taxes.
Did you hear the comment I made from my tax preparer? Were you listening?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, but I'm gonna disagree a little bit because you're doing returns for 2017, so you don't have all the data for 18 to do the work. I think that while I understand you're doing 400 returns, you're getting sort of a cross section of returns, but typically there are a lot of individuals that have to take extensions because they have other sorts of income. They have K1 income, and as a result of that pushes their return beyond the April 15th date. You have to pay your taxes, but I think that especially when you get
what did that have to do with anything?
Well, no, because you don't have. He doesn't. I don't think he's got a true cross section.
I think the only thing
taxpayers.
The only thing he doesn't. Well, I think he does.
No, he doesn't, Harry.
He has 400 and he'll have thousands by the April 15th.
But I'm saying if you, I don't want to. I'm not going to criticize what the statement was because I only heard part of it. But I don't think you have a true cross section of taxpayers, and he certainly is not doing taxes in the state of New Jersey, in North Jersey, I don't believe. I could be wrong with that. And I think if you think about this for a second, somebody that lives in North Jersey or someone that lives on Long Island and commutes to the city, people say, oh, geez, you're rich, you're making a lot of money. Well, the cost of living in North Jersey is higher than South Jersey, and I think a lot of those deductible items are going to go away. So having said that, I would like to really revisit this in June or July and see where we stand. And I think the real answer is going to be next year at this time.
True, but once all the guidelines are out, though, you could take this year's tax return and easily a tax preparer could put it through the new program, and it will tell you what that would be.
Yeah, if you do the math, if
see if you think this holds up though, because I think I want what everybody heard last hour, to not necessarily be wrong unless it's wrong. After completing over 400 tax returns, which reflect a good cross-section of lower and middle class taxpayers, with the exception of outside union clients who are losing a tremendous amount of employee expenses, mileage, tolls, parking, and union dues, taxpayers will see a sizable increase in their refunds next year based on their return being comparable to this year's return. The upper middle class, not so much. Their returns will remain much the same. I think that's accurate.
I'm pretty much, again, I'm going to disagree with it, but I'm not a tax preparer and I'm not an accountant.
Right.
But the accountants that we work with, particularly the what I'll call the upper middle class, are going to be faced with higher taxes in this state.
Well, he's saying that.
I think he said it kind of was a push. Or not so much.
He said the upper middle class, not so much.
Yeah,
their returns will remain much the same.
I don't think they're going to remain the same. I think what will be happening is they'll be actually paying more taxes, and I think the really painful process is going to be when you're getting the reduction now on the front end in your weekly, bi-weekly, monthly paycheck, whatever it is. I think you're going to have to pay for that next April.
That's why all these polling numbers are really good right now. People have gotten a $1,000 bonus. They've gotten a rate increase. They're getting more net pay.
I'm not going to disagree with Mike, but I'm going to say that he. And again, I don't want to dispute what he's saying, but I don't think he has a whole cross section of all taxpayers. I'll leave it at that.
Right. But I think he said that as much. He talked about middle income middle income. Then he said upper middle, not so much. Then there's a bracket well above upper middle, which would be, we'll call them the 1%. Great conversation. We're going to come back. Chuck has so much to present. Continue with his market update. What happened to the equity markets after a 10% correction? Where are we heading? Because 10% does equal that we did have a correction. I think it's maybe under 10 now with some of the gains. We'll see if Chuck agrees that are we at 10 or are we now below 10. Yellen and Powell, that was the immediate past and the present. Day one in the markets and unemployment, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about rising wages. We'll talk about population shifts. We'll talk about mortgage rates. All that still straight ahead with Chuck Malamut, the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program for the past 27 years. And Chuck has been doing what he's been doing longer than that. You can reach Chuck for all and his team, the Malamut Group, for all of your financial planning needs by calling 609-383-2010. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Paul D'Amato.
Harry Hurley.
Paul, I know our listeners want to know what's new with the D'Amato Law Firm.
Things are great, Harry. We are so privileged to represent our clients whose lives have been turned upside down because they were involved in a serious accident. We meet on a regular basis. We copy our clients on all our correspondence so they always know what's going on with their case. We try to treat them like family. We have Alexa here, my daughter. I'm so happy that she's here. We have Steve Van Natten and Casey Gifford. We're a great legal team.
They're the D'Amato Law Firm for all of your personal injury legal needs. Turn to the official lead counsel to the Hurley in the Morning program for more than a quarter of a century. The D'Amato Law Firm in Egg Harbor Township, 609-926-3300. That's 609-926-3300. Tell Paul, Alexa, Sandy, the entire team that Hurley in the Morning sent you.
Mark your calendars for the 10th Annual Atlantic City Restaurant Week, March 4th through March 9th. A variety of restaurants in the Atlantic City region will feature price-fixed, 3-course menus at just $15.18 for lunch and $35.18 for dinner per person, all week long. Gourmet, seafood, steakhouse, and casual. The choice is yours. And why not show your good taste with a Restaurant Week gift card? They make a perfect gift for any occasion. Gift cards are available at the Visitor Welcome Centers, online or by phone. Visit acrestaurantweek.com or call 1-888-AC-VISIT to purchase today. Proudly brought to you by the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority. Price fixed, 3-course menus at just $15.18 for lunch and $35.18 for dinner per person. Atlantic City Restaurant Week, March 4th through March 9th. Don't miss it. It only happens once a year. Check out acrestaurantweek.com for restaurant information, menus, and reservations.
This is Stacy Lilliston from number 1 Lilliston Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Millville.
And I'm Ivan Nelson. Are you looking for a car but you're worried about your credit?
Here at number 1 Lilliston Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, we know bad things sometimes happen to good people, and we're here to help.
We have the credit resources to be able to say yes, even when others said no.
With 250 vehicles in stock at all times, including tons of brand new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams, you're sure to find a vehicle that fits your budget.
And if you've gone through bankruptcy and have been discharged, you're approved.
So if you're looking for a car, but you're worried about your credit, just remember, we're here to help. You'll do better at the big dealer, number 1 Lilliston Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
The Tri-State's number 1 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer. We're on North 2nd Street in Millville, online at Lilliston.com.
Number 1 based on 2015 MPL in the Mid-Atlantic Business Center per Chrysler's own reports. Price includes all costs borne by consumer except tax, title, and license fees.
The following statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Do you want your thin hair to feel and look thicker? With Viviscal, the number 1 drug-free healthy hair supplement in the U.S., 2 little tablets is all it takes, guaranteed. Viviscal is clinically researched to promote existing hair growth for men and women. And right now, a 90-day supply of Viviscal is offered in your area, risk-free plus free shipping. Viviscal nourishes thinning hair from within, and we guarantee you'll love your hair growth results. Viviscal is so effective, it's recommended by doctors. Here's what dermatologist Dr. John Laura has to say about Viviscal.
I feel confident recommending Viviscal. It's
backed by 25 years of research and multiple clinical studies that demonstrate Viviscal's effectiveness in promoting the growth of thicker, fuller hair.
It's so easy to try Viviscal. Call right now for a 90-day risk-free supply plus free shipping. Call 800-360-0275. That's 800-360-0275. 800-360-0275.
Hey, wake up with Harry Hurley and drive home with me, Sean Hannity, 3 to 6. It's all happening here on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
Hurley in the Morning with Chuck Malamut, the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. Chuck, I'm just going to turn it over to you. I read the list right before we went to the break of all the ground that you want to cover. Take it away.
All right, so let's just spend a few minutes about last week, because I think it was pretty remarkable. And you hit it. Global equities rallied, not only obviously domestically but overseas. The VIX, so the volatility index measure that we look at, which was created part of the havoc with the downturn that we had. That actually calmed down. The S&P regained almost 8% from its February intraday low. So think about that for a second. We were down 12%, and we regained a good portion of that. The Japanese stocks lagged the broader rally. U.S. Consumer Price Index, CPI, that was sort of the boogeyman in the room, Harry. It surprised to the upside on both headline and core measures, pushing the U.S. Treasury 10-year, which again was everyone's concern as well, to a 4-year high of 2.9%. Remember, the number they're all looking for is, does devastation set in when you're at a 3%? We don't think so, and that was the first time that happened since 2014. And also, U.S. retail sales slowed. Speaking of U.S. retail sales, if you look at today's headlines, you'll see one company making it, Home Depot, and one company missing, which was Walmart. So sort of a tale of two cities. So,
wow.
So having said all that, if you look at do
you know how Sam's did as opposed to Walmart's?
I didn't.
The only reason I bring that up is
I didn't see the breakdown of that.
They are different, but they're sort of considered to be the same.
Well, yeah, they trade under Walmart. Yeah. So if you take a look at what happened, 2 weeks ago, it was I think it caught everybody by surprise. So much of it still remains somewhat of a blur as to what exactly happened, but there's some clues that you can take out of this as far as how buyers and sellers react. And I remember, Harry, being here 2 weeks ago, one of the things that we said to your listeners was, if you are truly interested in equities, it would be a good time to look at what you own and, sort of put your buying list together, to perhaps add in, or maybe buy some securities that you haven't owned previously that you want to buy. And as that turned out, I think to obviously be the right call. So think about January. I mean, on the backs of tax reform, there was so much euphoria, and a large sum of money was plowed into equities during the month of January. And during the month of January, the market was up, I think roughly 6 or 7%. Then, as we got into February, more money was yanked out as shares ended up, going the wrong direction. And then ultimately, as this was happening, what happens when there's blood on the street? Think about, the corporate buyers. They showed up, both fists loaded, ready to go, and they ended up buying at the bottom and, ended up pushing, the market higher here. So when we had not seen a situation like this, when, money moved as quickly as it did, and we ended up, moving down as quickly as we did at the same time. So there was what I'll describe as a technical correction we kind of talked about, before the break.
Are we at 10, or did it come back a bit? And
we're down 8. I'm sorry, it was 8.
So right, but when you hit 10 and you close at 10, it qualifies as a correction.
Well, yeah, when you go through 10, it qualifies as a correction. So when you look at where we are now year to date, the S&P, the Dow, up anywhere from almost 2.5%. The Nasdaq, because of what happened last week, the Nasdaq's up 5%.
Wow.
Year to date. I think about the Nasdaq last week was up over 5.3%.
So without some of that craziness, we'd actually be saying, hey, about 6-7 weeks into the new year, up 5% in the one indice, up 2.5% in the other. Actually be saying good start.
It still is a good start. So
do you think most people don't think that, though, do they?
No, most people think about what happened in February, completely forgot about what happened in January. So what we witnessed was, one, it was a technical correction. We saw fear, and we saw panic.
But not 2008 panic.
No, but what happened was, the investors that added or not added, the investors that got into the market in January, obviously are looking at some losses now because, January up 7, February down, up net positive 2. It depends when you went in. But again, remembering, we try not to measure on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. So you had the computers, they kicked in, the automated traders, markets, ultimately did recover.
Did it ever come close to curbs being put into effect?
Sure. When you're down, we were within just a couple percentage points,
okay.
But we didn't quite get there. So, during the month of January, what happened was $16 billion flowed into U.S. stock mutual funds and ETFs. When you look at the numbers that came with respect to January employment or unemployment and wage growth, that's what spooked the market. And the fact that $27 billion was taken out of equity funds in 9 trading sessions. So $16 billion comes in during the month of January, $27 billion goes out in over 9 trading days. So, if you look from a chartist standpoint, from a technical analysis, it makes sense. There was this what they call low volatility trade that a lot of institutions put on, and it was an easy way to make money over many, many years because there was no volatility.
We're going to take our final break with Chuck, coming right back. It's 32 minutes past the hour. Reminder for all of your financial planning needs. Turn to the Malamut Group, Chuck Malamut and his team at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office, 609-383-2010. You'll learn up close Chuck's perfected concept of total asset management, coupled with the all-important asset allocation, the Barron's, and now Forbes decorated award-winning financial advisor Chuck Malamut. He continues with Hurley in the Morning in just a few minutes. Stay with us. This is so fresh on my mind as I get to speak for about a minute about the Virginia Hotel and Cottages, which we love. Last Friday, when I was not here, I was there. We had such an incredible Friday into Saturday. It was wonderful. You will love the Virginia Hotel. You'll love all the Cape Resort properties. Next hour, we're going to be talking about what's happening at Congress Hall, which is so close, such walking distance, not even half a block away from the Virginia. There's a great winter warm-up that's in effect, so you can enjoy a $40 dining and cocktail credit per day, spa discounts, hot chocolate, and more. The details at virginiahotel.com, or you can certainly call toll-free 800-732-4236. Also, March 11th, the winter concert series, The Squares, continues. You can join everybody at the ballroom at Congress Hall for this, but all of Cape Resorts are celebrating it and participating, all the sister properties. Music from Klein to Cash and beyond. Details at virginiahotel.com or call a reservation agent, 800-732-4236. The Virginia Hotel and Cottages, 25 Jackson Street in Cape May, literally nestled on a tree-lined street, a half a block from the beautiful beach and ocean. And a reminder that the Virginia Hotel was ranked number 4 in the Condé Nast Travelers Reader's Choice Awards for the top 20 hotels in the Mid-Atlantic and New York. The Virginia is also a TripAdvisor 2017 Certificate of Excellence winner.
Who's the most listened to afternoon talk show host in South Jersey? It's Sean Hannity on WPG Talk Radio 104.1. Sean tells it like it is.
I'm so sick of the media. They're basically all opinion now. And their opinion is they hate Donald Trump. They're throwing every bit of paper against the wall, hoping something sticks.
South Jersey's #1 afternoon talk show host is Sean Hannity. Weekdays 3 to 6 on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
How do you describe fun? Is it relaxing by the beach year-round at Landshark Bar and Grill? Is it a hot streak followed by frozen drinks at Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville? Is it award-winning gourmet dining and live music and over 800 new slots and all the above? Find your fun at Resorts Casino Hotel, a Mohegan Sun property in Atlantic City. And with over $100 million in new renovations, there's more fun than ever. Get started at resortsac.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Winter's finally here. Is your car ready? Team Nissan services all makes and models with winter specials, like an oil change for only $24.95 or our pothole special for only $69.95. Plus, all January long, bring your car in for a free winter checkup. Don't let winter get you down. Team Nissan, 1715 South Delsey Drive in Vineland. Go team! Offer good through January 31st, 2018. Oil change on some models slightly higher. Offers cannot be combined.
Hi, it's Mark Levin. Join me at 6 this evening. Now back to the mayor of the morning, Harry Hurley, on WPG Talk Radio 104.1, South Jersey's talk station.
If you're just joining the program, we're at 36 minutes past the hour. Chuck Malamut continues, our official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. Dr. Newkirk is coming up in less than 30 minutes now for the first half of the 9 o'clock hour, and then Wide Open Forum in the second half of the hour. Chuck, you've got a lot of ground to cover. Take it away.
All right, so Harry, let me finish up on what pushed the market and how violently it pushed it. A lot of it had to do with the VIX, the volatility index. Traded up to 50, and the pace of the 10-year, which is now sitting at about a 290, it moved about 40 basis points higher very, very quickly. And the market did get spooked a little bit by that and created a lot of what I'll refer to as the program traders. So if you take a look at what happened, we retraced, for 6 straight days, Harry, we had positive news within the market. We retraced 54% of the 292-point loss within the S&P very, very quickly. At the same time, if you take a look at a year like 1999, where you had quick drops and recoveries, that year ended up being a 20% return in the market. So, people oftentimes ask, well, are we going to be where we were in 1999, or is it going to be different? So, this time buying the dip worked. The question is, and the concern is, yes, there will be volatility. And I think one of the things that your listeners need to be made aware of is that volatility is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's something that we have not become accustomed to over the last several years. So I think that it's something that we need to think about as we get into the latter part of 2018. So think about it. As you mentioned, down 12, over down 10, you are the true correction. We have retraced it. So, volatility, so what happens? If we look at, after a 10% correction, where are we heading?
Hey, Chuck, could I ask you, because I know that I listen to you very closely every single week. You kind of warned everybody. You didn't predict it. You weren't doing something, like off-putting or anything like that. But you sort of mentioned about corrections happen. I remember this vividly. Even before this correction, did the analysts at Morgan Stanley, did they look at this as a year of a correction?
No, they looked at a year of volatility. They looked at a year of growth. I mean, what happened was after we got through, those 9 awful days in February, is that a lot of expectations have since been lowered. But the fact is that there are some really good things happening, and the fundamentals within the market still remain sound. I think about it, leading indicators, corporate earning trends. Think about year over year what's happened with corporate earnings. Think about, the tax bill that is now in place, with fundamentals being in place, it should bode well for the equity markets. If you look at corporate earnings, over 80% of S&P 500 companies have reported. Earnings per share are up about 15%. Sales are up in the high single digits. So at this point, 81% of companies are beating earnings expectations, the highest level that we've seen in 8 years. Rising inflation, could act as an ongoing headwind for stocks, but we don't think it's going to get in the way of having a positive year. The budget deal that was signed, and I kind of laugh, Harry, about the budget deal because it's sort of kicking the can down the road. It removes some short-term uncertainty from the markets, but could cause longer-term issues as we get into the latter part of this year. The sell-off that happened, Harry, was basically reduced equity valuations. You think about we always talk about PE ratios, price to earnings ratio. The higher the number, it's not necessarily doesn't bode well for the market. So when the market hit its peak in mid-January, the PE ratio was about 18.4 for S&P 500 companies. When the market got to the close of a week ago, Friday it was actually, because that's sort of that low point, it had fallen to 16.3. And that's where we were about 2 years ago when markets went through that early 2016 correction. So technicals are still improving despite what happened in the market. Double-digit market corrections are not unusual. When you have a bull market.
Wasn't this the longest without a correction in history?
It was. So think about it. The S&P has more than quadrupled since that awful number of 666 in March 2009. During the same time, we have had 5 double-digit corrections, 17% in 2010, 22% in 2011, 10% in 2014, 16% in 2016, and then as of the bottom, 12% in 2018. So, probably markets need some time to digest and repair. It's like anything else.
Do you think anything that happened, Chuck, in those 9 days in February that would change the Fed and what they plan on doing in terms of raising interest rates?
I think the Fed's going to be maybe a little more cautious. And I'm going to you got me into one of the talking points that I sent over to you last night. I just found this remarkable as I was doing my research for the show. Janet Yellen was sworn in as the Fed chair February the 3rd, 2014. The S&P that day was down 2.3%, the worst trading day for the index in 2014. The day that Jerome Powell was sworn in as Fed chair, February 5, 2018, S&P was down 4.1%, the worst trading day for the index since August 18, 2011.
Is there any nexus, or is it just a coincidence?
I want to say it's a coincidence, but I find it's rather
interesting.
It's a rather rare coincidence, but
maybe it's not, though, because haven't you taught me for almost 3 decades that we've been doing this program, and you've been doing what you've been doing over 3 decades, that markets don't like uncertainty. So when you go to new is not known.
I don't disagree with you, but it wasn't as if everyone knew that Powell was taking over. It wasn't as if Yellen was going to continue on.
But
so
it's still new, though.
It is new. I just find it rather coincidental that you had the worst trading days when the new Fed chair took over.
And Chuck, here's my sort of constitution on this kind of stuff. I used to believe in coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences much anymore. There seems to be something to why things happen. And that's, to me, a very compelling statistic that basically on the first day that 2 new people started 5 years apart, a substantial downturn happened. And by the way, Powell's makes hers look small.
I can't disagree with you. I mean, hers was a 2.3, his was a 4.1.
But hers was a 2.3 on a smaller number.
Yep. But think about when Yellen was sworn in, in 2014, 10.2 million Americans were unemployed. Now, the day when Jerome Powell was sworn in, 6.7 million Americans were unemployed. So as we talked about, the job market is getting very, very tight.
Wasn't that part of the downturn, Chuck, that there were good news reasons for the downturn?
Yeah, employers are looking. Employers are pushing wages higher, and that was a concern, ultimately with earnings. So the fact that we are at 4.1% unemployment for the month of January, it's pretty. How you think about it, it's pretty remarkable that we are where we are. And I can't imagine if you weren't looking for a job, you couldn't find a job.
True.
You might not get the job that you're looking for. And interestingly enough, as we are reading and watching and seeing everything in Atlantic City, you have the two new properties opening and looking for people.
Thousands of jobs.
So that's obviously good for, this part of the county.
Another thing about this particular employment rebound is these are full-time jobs. We were having part-time jobs in the past when things were not going as well. Where do population shifts enter into your discussion today?
I think this is probably one of the most amazing stats that I found. It's just it's nothing short of remarkable. 50% of our population lives in 143 counties in this country, which is 4.6% of the 3,142 counties throughout the nation are home to 50% of our citizens.
It speaks to a lot of things.
So you think about the density issues in New York City, North Jersey, Philadelphia,
California,
and then you go out. As I mentioned to you, I was out in the Midwest. Certainly busy where I was, but it's totally different.
Well, you go to Montana, they have one congressman for the whole state.
Yeah, so it's that I found that to be very interesting. And actually, I was a little, I want to say, I don't want to say overwhelmed is not the right statement I'm trying to make, but I was kind of shocked to find out that 50% of our population is residing in less than 5% of the counties throughout our country. Pretty amazing.
Speaks to the popular vote versus the electoral college.
Exactly.
In a very big way. And finally, Chuck, mortgage rates, because they have ticked up a bit, right?
Yeah, so the average cost right now, Harry, on a 30-year, rose to 4.32%. It's the highest level that we've seen in this country, since December 2016. So,
but still remarkably low.
It's low, but you sort of have that process now where how many home buyers does it take out of the picture because of these rising rates? And it's something that we have to be concerned about.
I did see 2/3 of the country right now are enjoying the highest property values in history right now. We're not part of that, but our values are rising, though.
It looks as if the real estate market here is maybe stabilizing here a little bit, and with the opening of the two casinos in Atlantic City, I think that's going to obviously change as well.
Let me say this before you go, Chuck, in case listeners that are tuned in now did not hear me make this announcement at the beginning of Chuck's program. Chuck has long and many, many times over the years been selected by the Dow Jones Business and Financial Weekly publication, the annual Barron's power list of America's top 1,200 financial advisors. And, of course, to make the top 1,200, you have to make either the top 50 or, in the case of what I'm about to say with Forbes, the top 93 in New Jersey were rated. And then that earned Chuck his place as one of America's top 2,000 best wealth advisors by Forbes magazine. This is Chuck's first time making the Forbes magazine list of the best wealth advisors in America. Chuck was selected as one of the 2,000 in all of America and number 25 in the state of New Jersey. And Chuck, as I said at the opening, we're very proud of you. It's an incredible accomplishment that almost nobody – think about it. Almost nobody makes it. If there's 325,000, which is what I think it is because some of the data was a couple of years old that said a little over 300,000. It's probably about 325,000 or more financial advisors in America. and you're on the top 1,200 and the top 2,000. And I'm not great at math, but even I know that's top 1%, or puts you in the 99 plus percentile. Proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Harry. I know that we kid each other a lot, and I know a lot of your listeners.
But you can tell I haven't been kidding about this.
I know your listeners enjoy that. But thank you very much. I do appreciate everything that you do for us, and I'm happy to be with you for 27 years. Incredible.
Congratulations, Chuck.
Thank you, Harry.
Very proud of you. It is 50 minutes past the hour. If you want to jump in, I know we've dropped so many calls today. It's been so busy. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open for the next 10 minutes. Then we'll have Dr. Newkirk for 30 minutes, and then we'll have 30 minutes more of open forum. 609-407-1450 if you'd like to check in. My name is Hurley in the Morning, and I'm on WPG Talk Radio, 104.1 FM, 1450 AM, 97.3 FM HD3 on high-definition radios. And I do know that Tom McNally is efforting to get our stream back up. I know that a lot of people have missed that this morning, and we'll let you know where all that stands. But believe me, he'll get it done as quick as he can.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff is brought to you by Integrity Physical Therapy and Wellness and Dr. Stuart Honig of Go Feet Podiatry.
Heart of gold. Have a heart. Heart in the right place. No other organ inspires so many phrases. It's Heart Month, and heart disease remains the #1 killer in our country. One of the biggest indicators of heart health is our blood pressure. For the first time in 14 years, there are new guidelines. High blood pressure is now defined as 130/80 instead of 140/90. That means nearly half of all U.S. adults fall into the category of having high blood pressure. It also means that more people will be counseled on the benefits of lifestyle changes. High blood pressure is known as the silent killer because it has no symptoms. If you have not been screened for blood pressure in a while, get to the heart of the matter and get it checked. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff is brought to you by Integrity Physical Therapy. Put yourself in their hands. And Go Feet Podiatry. Your feet will thank you.
For nearly 4 decades in the Ducktown section of Atlantic City at the corner of Arctic and Georgia Avenues, Angeloni's 2 Restaurant and Lounge has featured the finest Italian-American cuisine in Atlantic City, preparing all meals to order. Lunch is served Monday through Friday, dinner served 7 nights a week. Every Monday, Angeloni's 2 presents the most interesting Monday nights. Mondays at the bar from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., featuring $2 Dos Equis beer, $2 Miller & Miller Light, $5 New Amsterdam martinis, $5 appetizers, and additional complimentary food will be served on the hour. The food will change weekly, at times even hourly. Happy to report Mama Angeloni Sundays from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. still in effect. A wide variety of fabulous 4-course $25 dinner selections remain in effect for parties of 10 or less. For more than 10, just turn to Alan and he will customize a party package that works great. To make a reservation for lunch or dinner, call Alan Angeloni. Tell him I sent you early in the morning. 609-344-7875.
A few years ago, my wife and I went shopping for amazing quality luxury bedding we could actually afford. And what did we find? Nothing. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen. Missy and I started Bull & Branch because we want you to be able to afford the best bedding in the world. By cutting out the middlemen and only selling online at bullandbranch.com, our award-winning sheets cost less than half of designer brands and are twice the quality. Every set is crafted from 100% organic cotton. They get softer and softer over time. That's why we have thousands of 5-star reviews, and even 3 U.S. presidents have Bull & Branch sheets. There's no risk. Try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a full refund. Go to bullandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping when you use promo code SLEEP. That's $50 off, plus free shipping right now at bullandbranch.com. Promo code SLEEP. bullandbranch.com spelled BOLL and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And because Harry's is so confident in the quality of their blades, they'll send you their most popular set, complete with a razor, one of their world-famous blades, shaving cream, and post-shave balm for free if you cover shipping. A total value of $20 at no cost to you, with code 1161 at checkout. Their way of saying thank you for trying them. How is Harry's able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures the blades. That's how. Go to harrys.com now and enter code 1161 at checkout to claim your free trial set and post-shave balm. That's harrys.com, code 1161.
Hey, wake up with Harry Hurley and drive home with me, Sean Hannity, 3 to 6. It's all happening here on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
My man, Chuck Malamut, ladies and gentlemen. His briefcase is loaded. He's in a handsome suit, and he's just left the building, kids. Chuck Malamut. 609-407-1415, open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, and I got to tell you, I wake up with Hurley and I go to bed with Hannity.
This is good. You are one of the most informed citizens in America, then, just based on what you just said.
Well, Harry, I got to tell you, it's like Valentine's Day for me with this. with this, I can't believe what Sessions finally. When I tell you finally did, I mean, really?
By the way, you just reminded me of something that absolutely is hysterical. And please, if you're listening, send me a text. Ron Meischker, Summers Point City Councilman, who I happen to be very, very fond of. He's a great guy. I was just so happy to have gotten to know Ron and become friends. And he's been very generous for the Hurley in the Morning charity with his wonderful, crabbing adventure that he provides. And people love it. It fetches a nice price. And we're very honored to be supporting his upcoming incredible effort that he does, the largest crabbing tournament basically anywhere that you will find in America. But Ron on Valentine's Day, so this is literally on February 14th on Valentine's Day, has a social media post on his account that said, "My favorite Valentine." So you think it's going to be his wife and everything. Corky Campbell, Campbell's Marina, because he's this mechanic that keeps his boat in. I mean, Ron takes extremely meticulous care. So when you said it was like Valentine's Day, that I have to say, and I meant to call Ron about it, his Valentine's post cracked me up. I loved it. Corky Campbell, my favorite Valentine. I just thought, oh my God, it's tremendous. Anyhow, what's up, Craig?
Well, we're getting closer. I think we're going to have an investigation with the FISA warrant. And isn't it amazing? October 18th, 2016, Obama standing in front of the White House saying, Donald Trump better get working. And, if he believes that, he's being tapped or, just because he's losing, they really thought they had it in the bag at that moment. And that's why I think Obama came out so cocky to almost insinuate that there was no collusion on his part.
You're so right about that. And we have talked about this, Craig. I didn't need any of the new reports to know. They did what they did. Everything with Trump turns out in the end that what he said is how it goes. And if anybody doesn't think he didn't know certain things, I know Donald Trump. When he says certain things, it's because he knows. Even if he puts it out like sort of sketchy or speculative, he knows what he was saying because somebody told him, you got wiretapped. You know that. I know it. So I knew he was telling the truth from the beginning. It is all going to come out in the end. I think the Inspector General's report is going to be extremely important in all this because then the Democrats who trash the Republican memo, what are they going to say? They're going to trash the Inspector General? I'll tell you that the only frustrating thing about all this, Craig, is that there's so much. The thing that got Nixon was kind of one bad thing. It's kind of like Russian collusion. It's all you hear. Blah, 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 Russian collusion. With Nixon, you had the cover-up, bungled, stupid break-in that he didn't even need. He was going to have an absolute landslide re-election, but politicians are paranoid. So they do this stupid, they called them the plumbers. They did this stupid break-in at the Watergate. Nixon could have cut his losses, but instead he covers the whole thing up. That I think a lot of people that look at Watergate as like the worst thing that ever happened fail to realize Nixon covered up something. That's what he did. It was nothing nowhere near as bad as the stuff that went on during the Obama years and with what Hillary Clinton did. But you know what, Craig? Nobody holds them to account. I hope that is about to change.
Well, I've been very quiet for 2 weeks because, Harry, I hear you, and I'm listening, and I'm thinking, is something going to happen? Thank God the shoe dropped. I feel like right now, and I'm gonna go because I know you got a break. I feel like the guy that's like during the whole winter you can't get to a place because it's closed for the winter season.
It's open for the spring,
and it's going to open, but I'm first in line. My tongue's hanging out.
I love it. Craig, here's what we're doing. We have Dr. Newkirk, but if you're around, I know you have a business to run, but if you're around, we're going to be in open forum from 9:40ish until 10:06. Until we meet again, Craig. Have a great day.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ 97.3 HD3 Millville. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
Dr. Newkirk, he's next.
He claims he's been much tougher than Obama on Russia. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. President Trump tweeting more criticism of his predecessor after last week's indictment of 13 Russians for interfering in American politics. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The president continuing his criticism of his predecessor on Twitter, retweeting a statement President Obama made before the 2016 election in which he said there is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow you could even rig America's elections. There's no